This is Angela with Angela's Busy Bees Garden and Homestead, and this is just an update on my chickens. I haven't showed them to you in quite some time. In fact, the last time I showed you these girls over here, they were what I call the teenage stage, but now you can see they're fully grown. They haven't started laying as of yet, but they're doing quite well. Um, the brown ones are called Isa Browns or Isa Browns. I'm not sure of the pronunciation, but it's spelled ISA. And the gray ones that you see here are called Sapphire Olive Eggers. And the gray ones produce green eggs, and the Isa Browns produce a light brown colored egg, although they haven't started producing eggs as of yet. And of course, these girls are under a covered shelter, so it doesn't get wet inside of their coop, which is a good thing. And then I have my girls over here. These are the black sex lynx, and they are 2.5 years of age. And also in here I have some Rhode Island reds, but all of these girls are laying, although I've seen some slight delay, and in fact some of them have stopped laying for some reason. But nonetheless, they seem to be pretty healthy and are doing fine. One of the things that I don't like about this open part of the coop is that whenever it rains down in the coop and creates a soggy, muddy mess. And so I'm looking forward to building one large coop that can accommodate at least 30 chickens. And I want it to be a covered area so that they wouldn't get wet. And over here are my Colombian cross rock breed. There are 4 here, and they lay white eggs, and they've been doing very well with laying. They haven't stopped at all this year since they've started laying eggs. And their coop is open also, and as you can see how it can get pretty muddy in there. But I want to take you along on this journey in case you're interested in raising chickens, to know exactly what it takes to raise them, what type of food they need, and how to clean their nesting box and their coops. And so if you look over here, I purchased all of my chickens from the Tractor Supply, and I purchased all of their food products as well from the Tractor Supply. Their main source of food is by Producer's Pride, and it is the 16% layer feed mini pellets. They really love this, but this is where the bulk of their nutrition comes from, and they are little mini pellets, as you can see here. And then I also give them either scratched corn or scratched grains. And this particular time I purchased the scratched grains, and I just add this as a supplement to the layer feed. And then also, to ensure that their eggs, the shells are hard enough, I provide them with a little oyster shell, and they love this. It's a great source of calcium for them, so that their eggs come out nice and hard instead of soft. But I also use diatomaceous earth, and I have it inside this bucket here, and it's in a powdered form. And so I will sprinkle it around in their coop, in their run area, and also if they were to eat a little of it, it's even good for them if they eat it for their health. But I'm going to take you along on this journey, and I'll probably start with the nesting boxes and get their coops clean so that you'll have a general idea of the process of taking care of chickens, if you're interested in raising chickens in your backyard, on your homestead, what have you. Okay, so follow me along. So I've gone on and mixed their food up. I've mixed the scratch grains with 16% layer pellets, and as you can see here, it's nicely mixed. And I don't use as much of the scratch grains. It's mostly like a 1 part of the scratch grains to the full bag of layer feed. And then also I take a big scoop of these oyster shells and I place it in the corner of their run so that if they need it, they know where to go and get it. And one good reason why you want to provide them with either oyster shells or some type of calcium is because they will start cracking their own eggs if they are needing calcium. And you don't want them to do that because that is a very hard habit to break. And so by providing them with the calcium that they need, that will help eliminate that problem. So the pond shavings that I use is also by the Tractor Supply, and it's the flakes, the premium pond shavings, and it's about $5 to $6 a bag, and it comes compressed, so you get a lot of volume in this particular bag. And as you can see, when you go inside of their nesting boxes, after about 2 to 3 weeks, pretty much all of the pond shavings have dried out, or they've kicked it out, what have you, broken down. And so about every 2 weeks you'll need to refill your nesting boxes. And all I do is I take a handful of shavings and place them inside of each of the next nesting boxes. And what I find is that the chickens will all nest, even though there are 2 nesting boxes here, they will all nest in one box for some particular reason. But I'm going to go on and fill these up and come back with you. So I've got the nesting boxes filled, and now I'm going to move inside the inside of their coop. And as you can see, this is what it looks like after about 2 weeks. All of this is manure, and of course a lot of the pond shavings have broken down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my shovel here, and I'm going to scoop all of the manure into this white bucket, and then put some diatomaceous earth and pine shavings on top to clean their house. Okay? And this is what it looks like when it's all clean. I have removed all of the chicken manure and the broken down pine shavings, and I've put down a layer of diatomaceous earth, which you see right here, and scooped all of that out. And here is just a bucket that I filled with the chicken manure. And as you can see, this is just from one coop, and I can typically get about this much at least every 2 to 3 weeks. But I've got their house all cleaned out for them. These pine shavings also help to give them a little warmth as well. And as you can see here, this is a chicken coop that I purchased about 7 or 8 years ago, and it houses 4 to 5 chickens, but it's not made out of the best material. And I have had a lot of coyotes, raccoons, what have you, to break into my coops and have killed a lot of my chickens over the years. So security is the next thing I want to discuss, because what I've had to do is I've typically used a board such as this one here, because this chicken coop was not made out of the best of materials, and so the wood is so thin. I really would discourage anyone purchasing any of those little flimsy chicken coops that they sell at the Tractor Supply, unless you are purchasing one that were made by the Amish people. But normally what I do is I place this board in here, and then I stack my cinder blocks all around the coop, and so far that has worked to keep them safe. Now I will admit it is ugly, but this has been the only thing that have saved my chickens this year. I have not had any predators to get my chickens this year, and I really feel that it's because of these cinder blocks. I have also placed them all around the sides and the front, anywhere that I think that they could try to dig under or try to enter. And I believe that they will try to dig, but when they get close to the cinder blocks, they realize that if they dig under, the blocks will fall in on them, so it stops them. So I'm going to continue doing this, but as I've mentioned, my goal for 2021 is to build one large chicken coop and house all of my chickens. I'll probably keep this coop over here just for new chicks, because you can't introduce new chicks to the older chicks, they'll kill them. So you want to wait until they've reached a size pretty much to the size of your other chickens before introducing them to the flock. But I have these cinder blocks all around, and as you can see, there was some digging here where the soil is raised. And also, if you look over here, there was some digging here as well, where you see the soil has been raised, like it could be a mold, I'm not sure. But of course it stops once it gets to the cinder blocks. Also over here, the same thing. And another reason why I want one big coop that I can walk inside and have covered is because if I go on vacation or if I travel and I'm not here for a couple of days, I want to be able to place a large enough container of food and water to sustain them until I can return. But because these coops are only about 2 feet, the run is about 2 feet in height, I can't get a large enough container in here. Plus, of course, they need space to walk around as well. And so I think a larger coop that's covered would be ideal. And also I want a large enough run to give them enough space to roam about freely. These are the Rhode Island Reds that you see walking around, and they are in the same house with my black sex links. And I'm not going to take you on the journey of cleaning the other 2 coops, but just wanted to give you a general idea of how to care for chickens in your backyard or on your homestead. And as always, if you like this video, please hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for future videos. Thank you so much. God bless.